Picture this. You've worked hard your entire life, survived the Cold War fears, mastered VHS programming, and now, at age 60, you're staring at a bank account with less than $10,000. This isn't a dystopian movie plot. It's reality for one-third of Generation X that in just 6 months, the oldest Gen Xers will turn 60, and they're walking straight into a financial nightmare that makes those old apocalyptic fears look like child's play. While they spent their youth preparing for nuclear winters and ozone layer disasters, a different kind of crisis was silently building in their bank accounts. But here's the real kicker. The generation that grew up watching Mad Max and the Terminator is about to face their biggest survival challenge yet. The question isn't whether the world will end, it's whether they can survive their own retirement. And what I'm about to share will shock you. Growing up, Generation X faced a unique psychological burden that no other generation has experienced. Every single day of their lives, they woke up to a new doomsday scenario. It wasn't just entertainment, it was their reality. The constant threat of nuclear war loomed so large that people were literally building bunkers in their backyards. Parents were teaching their kids about bomb shelters instead of baseball. But that was just the beginning. As if nuclear winter wasn't enough, Gen X watched as scientists warned about the growing hole in the ozone layer. Suddenly, stepping outside became an act of courage. They were told skin cancer rates would skyrocket, and they'd need to slather themselves in SPF just to check the mail. The message was clear. The sun itself had become their enemy. Then came the environmental whiplash. First, it was global cooling. The world was going to freeze. But wait, actually it was global warming. We're all going to burn. The narrative kept shifting, but the sense of impending doom remained constant. Today's climate change discussions? For Gen X, it's just the latest chapter in a lifetime of apocalyptic threats. This constant exposure to doomsday scenarios had a fascinating psychological effect. After living through 20 or 30 years of the end is near, Gen X developed a thick skin, a whatever attitude that's often misinterpreted as apathy. But it's not apathy, it's battle-hardened skepticism. When you've survived multiple apocalypses that never materialized, you develop a certain resistance to panic. Their entertainment didn't help either. While other generations had Superman and Wonder Woman, Gen X had Mad Max and the Terminator. Their heroes weren't preventing the apocalypse, they were surviving it. They burned through VHS tapes, watching these post-apocalyptic scenarios play out, unconsciously preparing for a future they were told was inevitable. This unique cultural experience created a generation that's simultaneously resilient and skeptical, prepared yet disengaged. They're the generation that learned to survive theoretical apocalypses while a real financial catastrophe was silently building in their bank accounts. The numbers paint a stark picture of Generation X's financial reality, and it's far more terrifying than any apocalyptic movie they grew up watching. In just 6 months, the oldest Gen Xers will turn 60, and the statistics are alarming. Over one-third of all Gen Xers have saved less than $10,000 for retirement. Let that sink in for a moment. After decades of working, many have less saved than the cost of a used car. But it gets worse. More than half of Gen Xers are planning to rely primarily on Social Security. As of January 2024, the average Social Security check is just $1,920 per month. Now let's compare that to reality. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average living expenses for Americans 65 and older is nearly $58,000 per year. Simple math reveals a devastating gap of approximately $36,000 annually between Social Security payments and basic living expenses. Here's where the math becomes truly frightening. Using the standard 4% retirement withdrawal rule, to cover that $36,000 annual gap, Gen Xers need to have approximately $900,000 saved for retirement. Yet the median Gen X household has saved just $40,000. This isn't just a gap, it's a canyon. The National Institute of Retirement Security's Forgotten Generation report reveals more troubling statistics. Only about half of Gen Xers have access to a 401k defined contribution plan, and a mere 14%, that's just 1 in 7, have access to a pension plan. They're truly caught in a perfect storm, too young to have benefited from the era of corporate pensions like their boomer parents, but too old to have had enough time to build substantial 401k balances. The wealth disparity within Gen X is equally concerning. While the upper quartile, shows median savings of $132,000. The numbers drop dramatically for the rest of the generation. Even this higher figure falls far short of what's needed for a secure retirement. And these numbers aren't just static. They tell a story of repeated financial setbacks, particularly from the 2008 financial crisis, which hit Gen X during their prime earning years. The generation that grew up preparing for fictional apocalypses now faces a very real financial one. And unlike those doomsday scenarios that never materialized, this crisis isn't going away by simply changing the channel. Generation X finds itself at a financial crossroads, and understanding how they arrived here is crucial. Unlike their parents, who often had pensions to rely on, only about 14% of Gen Xers have access to such plans. This shift from defined benefit to defined contribution plans, like 401k, has placed the burden of retirement savings squarely on their shoulders. The 2008 financial crisis hit Gen X particularly hard. Many were in their prime earning years when the housing market collapsed and stock portfolios took a nosedive. The recovery was slow, and for those who lost jobs or homes, the impact was long-lasting. Even as markets rebounded, the lost time for compounding returns left a significant dent in their retirement outlook. Adding to this financial strain is the burden of student loans. Surprisingly, about 1 in 6 Gen Xers still carry student loan debt into middle age. This debt competes with other financial priorities like saving for retirement or supporting children's education. It's a juggling act that leaves little room for error. Moreover, wage stagnation over the years hasn't helped. While costs of living have risen, salaries haven't kept pace, making it difficult to save adequately for the future. This economic environment has forced many Gen Xers into a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Cultural factors also play a role. Raised during a time of economic prosperity and consumerism, many Gen Xers were encouraged to spend rather than save. The cultural narrative was about living in the moment rather than planning for an uncertain future. Despite these challenges, it's not too late for Gen X to change course. Understanding these factors is the first step towards addressing them. In the next section, we'll explore how home ownership and real estate have played a role in shaping Gen X's financial landscape. Owning a home is one of the best ways to build wealth, and this is especially true for Generation X. Now let's look at how many Gen Xers own homes at different ages. Among younger Gen Xers, ages 40 to 45, only about 1 in 4 own homes. This number goes up to half of those aged 46 to 50. For Gen Xers between 51 to 55 years old, about 2/3 have their own homes. While it's good that more Gen Xers buy homes as they get older, it shows how hard it is for younger ones to buy houses. The typical Gen X homeowner owes about $100,000 on their mortgage. That's a lot of debt, but owning a home has helped many Gen Xers build wealth because house values usually go up over time. The 2008 housing crash hit older Gen Xers hard. Many saw their home values drop a lot, and some houses are only now worth what they were before 2008. This hurt their savings and plans for retirement. Will owning a home still be a good way for Gen X to build wealth in the future? While history says yes, today's uncertain economy and changing housing market make it less of a sure thing. Gen Xers who don't own homes or have much home equity, the part of their home they actually own, may find it harder to save enough for retirement. This shows why it's important to save money in different ways, not just through homeownership. While the financial outlook for Gen X may seem bleak, it's not too late to take action. The key is to start now and make the most of the time left before retirement. Here are some strategies to consider. 1. Implement the 50/30/20 rule. Aim to allocate 50% of your income to necessities, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings. This may require lifestyle adjustments, but it's a powerful way to boost retirement savings. 2. Maximize retirement contributions. Take full advantage of employer match 401k plans and consider opening an IRA for additional tax advantage savings. 3. Invest wisely. Work with a financial advisor to create a diversified investment portfolio that balances risk and potential returns based on your time horizon. 4. Explore additional income streams. Consider part-time work, freelancing, or turning hobbies into side businesses to increase savings. 5. Delay retirement if possible. Working a few extra years can significantly increase your savings and reduce the number of years you'll need to fund in retirement. 6. Pay down high-interest debt. Prioritize paying off credit cards and other high-interest loans to free up more money for savings. Remember, every step towards improving your financial situation counts. It's never too late to start making positive changes for your future. Generation X grew up thinking about how to survive all kinds of disasters. Now they face a real problem with their retirement savings, but there's still time to fix it. The facts aren't great. 1 out of every 3 Gen Xers has saved less than $10,000, and most need about $900,000 more than they have now for retirement. But Gen X is good at dealing with tough times and finding ways to make things work. Just like the heroes in those survival movies Gen X watched growing up, it's time to be strong and take charge of your money. You can. Put more money into your retirement accounts. Find new ways to make extra money. Cut back on spending to save more. Ask yourself, will you tackle this money problem now or wait until it's too late? If you like this video, please subscribe. Also check out our new video, How College Degrees Are Failing the Job Market. You'll learn a lot from that one too.